It feels like you can get your credit scores anywhere these days. Random websites, card statements, budgeting apps, heck, even your dog might bark out a few numbers. It's true. Credit Karma isn't the only place you can find them. But we actually do more with your scores to help you find your next financial opportunity. Like a more rewarding credit card, a game plan that helps you pay down debt faster, or a personal loan to help you save more on interest payments each month. Cha-ching! The possibilities are kinda endless. Download Intuit Credit Karma today to get started.
I'm Shane Hawco from the band Culled, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
1, 2, 3, 4. The Brutally Delicious podcast. The Brutally Delicious podcast. The Brutally Delicious podcast. The Brutally Delicious podcast.
70,000 tons of metal. The original, the world's biggest heavy metal cruise. 60 bands, 4 days, 1 cruise ship, only 3,000 tickets. From Miami, Florida to Ocho Rios, Jamaica, January 30th to February 3rd, 2025. 5 days and 4 nights mingling side by side with your favorite artists in this incredible fan-friendly scenario that has no comparison. Go to 70,000tons.com and book your ticket now.
I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Oh, wow. Is it cold up there yet, or?
Supposed to be our first day of snow today.
Oh, wow.
But it was like 18 degrees Celsius yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know what Celsius is, so we're going to have to... I'm going to guess
it's around 70, I guess.
Okay, yeah, that's what we got today. But now you're at this, so that's a big difference.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be like minus... Yeah, so 70 is like 21, so it was more like 18. What's that? 65.
Wow.
And then it's supposed to be -4 today, which is 25.
Oh, Jesus, what a difference.
Yeah, in a day. And then the weekend It'll be 65 again.
That's crazy. All right, anyway, we didn't come talk about the weather, right?
Sure, yeah. Whatever you want to talk about. Weather, you just
Let's talk about Culled, because I've got 2 things for you. First, how the hell did I not know you guys existed? This is great stuff.
Wow, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, usually when I'm, booking stuff, a lot of times I've got bands I've never heard of before, and then I go through, listening and prepping and rehearsing, and this was the one I was the most excited for today. I was like, man, this is some crushing stuff, and I'm totally digging it.
Nice. Glad you like it. It's been...
What's been the response to it so far? It came out in July, right?
Yeah, July 26th. Yeah.
Okay. And the response has been really good?
Yeah, it's been pretty good, actually. I think compared to our debut, which came out quite a while ago before the pandemic, I think there's been some changes in how people collect music. It's a little tighter right now, right? So the sales aren't necessarily as high as they used to be, but I think like critically, we're getting a lot higher of a response, getting a lot of plays, which is great. So we feel pretty good about it. Like we had a huge change in the lineup. Basically, myself and Ben, the guitar player, were the only members that stayed from the debut, and we ended up replacing the drummer and the bass player with some really good friends of ours, and we're really happy with these new songs. We just wanted to get them out right away, and we're already working on the full release, which will come out hopefully within next year or so.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to just ask you, what are you so pissed about on this record? Because that's the first thing that comes across, right? It's that angst that I'm pissed off. What are you pissed off about?
Right. Yeah, I guess that comes across, right? I think the last album, I was definitely pissed at the state of the world, right? Where Thin the Herd, Failed to Learn, which is the last album. That one was really heavily focused on, Chomsky and the way that the government and people in control and powers that be tend to divide society into our different groups and utilize very small talking points to kind of divide the empathy really, which is what the problem is, right? That's the thing I'm really pissed off about is the lack of empathy in our society and how quickly we're willing to just shit on the person who has a different kind of belief system than us. As long as that belief system isn't harming anybody, then it shouldn't be a problem. But then you get into like issues where, you know, somebody's belief or somebody's traditions are starting to really shit on or try to silence others in living a lifestyle that they choose. Then I have a problem with that, right? And it's because it's no longer done with an empathetic response. So this whole new album is about that need and desire to have more empathy within our society. And that's really what we're trying to call to. And it has everything to do with our own traumas that we've experienced over the years, especially during the pandemic. It really highlighted that stuff. And how do we deal with those traumas, right? And you know, there's some talk about mental handicaps or mental health really issues, right? And a lot of people tend to self-medicate for these mental issues, and it's not really getting at the heart of what those concerns are, right? And I think that's just par in the course of how our society has decided to drive solutions to this. Instead of doing it with empathy, it's doing it with a mindset of profiteering, right, and division, which is the biggest thing that we're angry about.
Okay. You mentioned mental health, and I mean, as much as I talk about it on the show, we've done films about it. We have one of my partners is a mental health crisis counselor over in London, somewhere outside of London. Okay. But we talk about it a lot, but I still don't think it gets across. There's still this stigma, right? And even though we all came out of that same thing, some of us dealt with it different, but it doesn't need to carry that stupid stigma.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think if we were to start looking at how other people in our society live with an empathetic response, then we're going to be able to have more meaningful discussions and be able to come up with solutions that can help drive a comfort zone for a lot of people, right? And I think that's where the root of the mental health comes from, right? Is its response from the traumatic issues that we've had in our past, right? And how do we deal with that? And then you end up with a crisis like the pandemic, and then the response to that is like, then how do I deal with these direct concerns, right? So I don't want to shit on somebody for utilizing medications or self-medication to maybe deal with those issues, right? It's not about that. It's more about the control behind that and the solution of like, this is the answer, not an empathetic response of like, let's hear about what you're going through and let's talk about that and let's try to find a solution together.
So I love a world that I live in where empathy can be expressed in such aggressive, pissed off music. It's amazing, and I'm absolutely thrilled by it. You said the reaction's been good. When you guys are you writing all of the songs together, like in the old school sense, or are you writing bits and pieces?
Kind of, but not really. So like I'm in Calgary, and the rest of the band is in Edmonton, which is 2.5 to 3 hours from here drive. And the guitar player, Ben, and Curtis, our drummer, tends to do a lot of writing together. And they work on structures and themes and those type of things. And then we'll get together when we can and do a collaborative process of actually writing this material together and restructuring it in a way that has more impact. So that's how we approach things. And we're very open to suggestions. We're open to, anybody's thoughts on how we should maybe structure a certain song or how we want to approach things. But the big underlying note that we've really wanted to focus on with Culled is we want to have this contrast between speed and aggression and slow, trudging, sludgy, doom-filled riffs that create this contrast of the faster parts will start to feel faster and more aggressive, and the slower parts will feel even heavier and more pounding. And to me, that just it's a unique way to bring tension, and I think that's what we're trying to achieve.
Okay, so I'm going to say something. Just bear with me. Take the trip with me for a second, because it probably will make sense, or at least it does in my head.
Sure.
So I think music always has a way of shining a light at society, right? We did it in the 50s. We did it in the 60s with Vietnam, 70s, whatever. We've done it all along, right? And it sort of shines a light and said, here's the trouble. In the times we're living in, this is like shining the light on the times we're in with that aggressive stuff, but also with the doom-laden riffs that you're talking about. Like, I couldn't think of a better analogy. It's like music for, even in the United States, or I guess around the world at this point, what we're all living through collectively.
Yeah. It's an interesting take, and I like that. And I encourage anybody to take whatever they want out of our music, really. Right? Like, sure, we have lyrical themes and we have a process that we're thinking of when we're creating this stuff. But if somebody's taking something else out of it, fucking awesome. That's great. But I was concerned that when we were doing these lyrical themes, that they would start to label us to a certain time, right? So now, like, we're really talking about this criteria, this moment. But when you think about it, the lack of empathy has been going on for a long time, and the call to improve that should always be there. So in that reflection, I think, maybe we are kind of writing music that isn't necessarily tagged to this time, but can have a little bit wider spectrum.
Right. So
if the new Chicken Big Mac at McDonald's looks like a Big Mac, has sweet buns and sauce like a Big Mac, but has 2 chicken patties, then it's not a Big Mac.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time.
Allow me to play devil's advocate for a second. Even if we use the word tag, there's nothing that says you have to be, I mean, maybe this record would be, right? But there's nothing, your next record is not going to be this record anyway, right? It's going to be something completely different, new themes and whatever. So you really wouldn't be tagged, I don't think. Am I making sense, or am I just...
No, it does make sense. I think it's lyrically is what I'm trying to talk about, right? Like, lyrically being tied to this era with the content, right? So I try not to speak directly to, like, whatever's going on in the current, I guess the current spotlight is the American election, right? So it's like that's even happening up here. Everyone's like looking down and going, "Oh God, what's going on?" And there's a lot of tension there. But like, to speak about that directly, I think kind of misses the point, right? So I think, like, when we create music, we want it to be kind of a unit. So although we only did a 5-song, 22-minute EP this time around, the next time we're going to definitely do a little bit more of a longer dive, get a full release going. But all that music has to tie into each other. All the songs have to have some type of relation to it. And who knows, maybe in the way things are going right now, there's a little bit more chaos going on in the music that we're writing currently. And maybe that's reflecting exactly the moment we're living in, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. How hard is it to sequence this kind of stuff? I know you said each song is kind of written with the other in mind, but do you write all in a row, or do you like get them all done and then try and put them together to create that ebb and flow?
Yeah. Well, we just write the songs. Like, when we did Psycles, we actually had a few other songs that we cut from the list. We just didn't feel that they fit within what we wanted to go, or we felt those were starting to shape a new direction. So we kind of, and that's why we ended it, and we said, no, we should just cut this off and make an EP, because the new stuff that we were coming up with was a little different. So this time around, we're really trying to keep it tied in so that it feels like it's all within the same kind of unit, but we're not so worried about like context as far as like this song first or that song next or anything like that yet. But at some point in time, once we get all these things together, we'll see. But the main thing is like being able to create musically a thematic, cohesive project, right?
What does this look like out on the road? I know it's tough to tour these days. Is that even an option?
Well, it's always an option, right? We haven't really focused on going on a bigger tour right now. Like we've got the ability to do it, but we really just want to focus on writing and entertaining that area first. So we've been playing a lot in our backyard. Playing a lot of shows in Alberta. We'll be playing shows in BC and Saskatchewan at some point in time, maybe even Manitoba. But outside of that small western thing, we're not going to be expanding too soon. But it's definitely something we're open to. We have been working with labels that are in Philadelphia, for example, and there has been ideas of, hey, maybe we could potentially go there and see what that's like.
That would be a good fit.
Yeah, we're definitely open to that idea. It's just a matter of figuring out logistically how do we get that stuff to work and a timing that's going to work best with the entire band.
Sure. So that brings me to the end of what I had planned. Did I miss anything you want to cover? If not, what's next for Culled?
Next, like I said, we're focusing on writing a follow-up to this. We're going to be doing some shows in our local area to support it, and that's it. We just want to keep going. Keep with this current lineup. We're really happy with how things are sounding. We're really happy with how the musical integrity is, and we want to move forward with more of it.
And if fans want to find you, can you give us all your socials?
The best way to do it is just culled.ca, and then everything is linked to that. It's, I mean, like if we didn't have that website and I was quoting like Facebook.com/culled.ca, right. Like we ended up having our Facebook account hacked at some point in time. So it's just good that we have that one reference point for people to go to, and then we'll correct the links if we get hacked again or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. That's all I had then. But real quickly, is Canada looking down on us like we're a bunch of jokes here in the States? Because I imagine people outside this country think.
I think we're really just kind of looking down as concerned, right? Wondering like,
insane. Yeah,
our neighbors to the south, right?
So crazy.
Like on top of that, what we're starting to see is the vibe of the U.S. political nature and really how divisive it is. It's starting to come up here, right? Like we have a prime minister that not too many people are happy with, and he's a middle of the road kind of guy, and so that you got divisions now because he's this middle of the road guy who hasn't really been doing much, and so you got people on the right saying it's going to fix everything, and people on the left saying the same thing, and it's just, man, the divisiveness of all this stuff has just been really hard to swallow. So
it's horrendous.
Yeah, and you know, I don't want to play favorites, but I mean, anybody who's going to drive further divisiveness within your country or within any society, I think honestly, especially when they're doing it for their own personal merits and gain, I think that says enough, right? Of like, no, maybe if this isn't the job for you, you know, go build yourself another casino or some shit.
Right. In 2 weeks from today, it'll be D-Day. So
yeah,
hope for the
exactly,
best.
Exactly. It's a nerve-wracking time, and I just hope cooler heads and kindness prevails.
I'm not saying that
agree.
Hey, before we go,
can I get a perfect solution? Trust me, it's not.
No. Thank you, my friend. I really do enjoy that record. That was my my favorite of the preps for today.
Cheers. Thank you.
And it'll make my iPod to get listening to the rest of it. So I'm behind. Really I get so much music every day. Yeah, I get so much music every day. I don't get a chance to listen to everything that comes through. So it was nice that I got to prep for this and went, holy shit, where's this been?
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, I'm glad you're finding it. I think that's part of what the challenge is out there. Is there's so much music and so much noise that it takes a while for things to get through. So I'm really glad it got to you.
Yep. Thank you so much. Good luck with the next record, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
All right. Cheers, brother. All right. Bye.
Hey, this is Chris Swinney, formerly of the Ataris and currently host of That One Time on Tour, part of the Sound Talent Media Podcast Network. Have you ever wondered what it's really like on the road? The highs can be euphoric, but the lows can be crushing. Join me every week as I chat with industry pros about what it's like living out their wildest dream and, in some cases, their worst nightmare. Past guests of the show include members of NoFX, Pennywise, Bad Religion, and more. Listen and subscribe at soundtalentmedia.com.